All right, we'll start with the Lord's Prayer. We'll go from there. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us our daily bread and forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not to temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever and ever. Amen. Okay, got a few notes at the top of the show today that are going to be kind of important for Magic Secrets. I somewhat suspect that a decent number of people will check this episode out kind of over time for one reason or another. Um, and it's good for me to kind of state it out wide. You know, I'll post this webinar particularly in the group. Of course, I post every webinar in the group, but this time in particular, when I post it, I'll try to encourage everybody in the group to at least watch the first few minutes of it. So I'll try to keep it tight in that way. Um, but uh, but then also, want to explain a few things, a little bit more expansively from there. So at the top of the show, I want to talk about great news for Magic Secrets. And we've got two of the three people that I want to particularly highlight today. But what we're going to do, so if you've been following us at all, if you haven't, that's no problem. We'll get you up to speed. But if you have been following us, then we've added blogs recently, and I really want to give a tip of the cap to Dave Portnoy over at Barstool Sports. I think it's brilliant what he did over there. It's I feel like it's the type of thing I would have done, but I didn't, and I love it. And I think it's so fantastic. If you look at the shows that have emerged from that are huge money makers. My favorite is the Pat McAfee show. Some people like the Call Your Daddy podcast or whatever it's called. Call Me Daddy or Call Me Your Daddy, or I don't know exactly it is, but whatever it is, it's worth millions of dollars. It's very successful. And then there's other shows. Barstool itself is very successful and copied and so on. And so we added blogs, and when we added the blogs, lo and behold, what happened, and often happens with Magic Secrets. And we created when David Mills and I created Magic Secrets, we did so at this time in a way. Well, first of all, we're kind of recreating it. We created Magic Secrets. Our first Magic Secrets book we put out in 2003. It was a smash hit amongst the people that saw it, and became very successful at Magic the Gathering. David Sharpman went on to win a Magic Pro tournament, and I he really ascended with that. Not just with the book, but the community we built around it, the blog, and so forth. For years, I had people contact me about it. The techniques that we explained, and of course experientially what David knew and what I intuited, but especially what David knew. And David built around me in a certain way, but it's also David's brainchild how it's done, about teaching people about transferring information about how about leadership. He's a great leader. He's a great visionary, and I just really, I'm a very creative person, a very broad-based person, and I like to do, I like to be, I'm very expressive, and I don't really feel shackled at all by David's leadership. A lot of times with leadership, you're it's a give and take, right? If someone else is the leader, then there are things that you can't do or ought not do, given the system, right? And so, obviously there's avenues, if there's things, if I wanted to be kind of the ultimate visionary or the final decision maker or whatever, when it came to OMG or envisioning it or whatever, then it'd be a bad fit for me, because that's David. But that's not the thing that I care about. There's a lot of things I do care about. I myself have, let me say, an expansive vision for the world. I want the world to be great for you. I want your gaming world to be great. I want your money getting world to be great if you're involved with money getting either online or if you have a business like our dear Michael Friedman does. Then he's a painter. He helps people, goes into people's homes. They have a problem. They need to get something painted. I know what that's like, and then you get someone they can trust. And Michael can get in there and get good people with using good materials in a solid, sequential way and so forth, to help people have that success. Well, we want that whole thing to work, right? Inside of OMG, that's kind of what we do, with SEO being a particular driver with Google SEO. By the way, I'm holding our first set of tokens. I say first set because we're already in design. We're well in design on our second set. I'm realizing that the second set will be ready. We've got Adam on right now. I think Adam's muted, but I will have it ready for you, Adam. You and I, what we'll do is we'll get them printed before Cincinnati, and I can hand either you or Gary or whomever I can coordinate with in Orlando if Michael's going. Well, I don't know if Michael will come down here, but anyways, whatever. To hand you a box of them to be able to hand out in Cincinnati to to give people something new, to help them get prepared for the event and really have everything go extremely well for them. So we're going to be doing that. That'll be a cool, another cool note on what we have coming up. But we are becoming more robust. We're taking on more people, and we started OMG back in 2012, and really OMG is like 2.0 of StomperNet, which we started in 2006. I registered $10millionday.com in something like July of 2006, and lo and behold, in October of 2006, we had the biggest launch in internet marketing history, all with affiliates, no paid advertising, $14 million in gross sales. David and I partnered with Brad Fallon, who was very reasonable, very, very successful at the time, and had a lot of success with e-commerce. He was running myweddingfavors.com, which, by the way, to this day still ranks #1 for wedding favors on Google. You can look it up. David knows how to pick them. So anyways, we launched StomperNet. There's some things about StomperNet that David liked, some things he didn't like. Like David didn't like not having the final say, and it didn't functionally work for them. That's why StomperNet had a lot of success, but didn't ultimately ascend to the level that OMG did. OMG being kind of like StomperNet 2.0, which we launched in 2012, and was much, much, much more successful than StomperNet in every way that you can do it. But again, it was 2.0, and it was the first time when David could run it. Now, with OMG, a big social culture developed around it, and that was good, but it didn't really have a direction. And at the time, gaming wasn't the thing that it is now. Let me check. Oh, Smitty's on. Oh, goodness. Thank goodness. That's so great that Smitty's on. By the way, this webinar is so funny in my own eyes. If you could see what it looks like. Ask them. Can I not make them a center? Oh, panelists. There we go. Great. If you could see it through my own eyes, like if I had or not something to see it through my own eyes, because I just see a picture, right? Just whatever, in that way. But of course, the feelings I get, when I chase these then it's gonna be a fantastic show. And by the way, that's my feeling about that is for you, right? Like when David and I brought Smitty on board for Magic Secrets, he wasn't like, we did Magic Secrets because Smitty was willing to do it, right? Like it wasn't just like we did OMG 2026. We've launched it. It's still very underground, but we've launched it and it's spectacular. And we only did it because Nikki especially wanted to do it. He kind of grew up around OMG. He was a teen when he joined, and really flourished, and he printed up the posters and thought about it all the time, and really thought about how David organized things. Likewise, Smitty just grew up in the same town that David was going to university, followed David around with a notebook and wrote copious notes and thought about things that David brought up, and brought up great questions to him and so on. And so anyways, and Smitty just became, not just spectacularly important. I mean, he became almost like I can't even imagine the game store that we launched the end. I mean, doing it without Smitty it's just in my mind, just an absurdity. And we got so miraculously lucky. It's sort of like, when I think about like my wife, like just this kind of lightning bolt of, absurd luck, 1 in 8 billion or whatever, where you feel like that one is like, probably pretty much one, like maybe it's somehow, some ways, theoretically it could be more, but I don't know. Like I don't like to live that way. And I'll tell you, I really don't. If I could, kind of like start with one piece of, base advice from somebody who's just in a cloud and doesn't know what to do, to try to like find their way back home. Like, of course I could say, like, oh, figure out one thing that's true and go from there, would be great advice. But another thing I could say to them is that any like work, like you working, it's not that any given person could be like a lottery ticket. And that's a terrible way of seeing things. Although this maybe has all the resemblance of the walking lottery ticket. No, and people like this that are wonderful, like and so on. They have these qualities, and it feels like a lottery ticket. But anyways, it's not. They're people, you have to work with them, you have to build with them. And David and I were very willing, very excited about building with Eddie. In that case, it was our idea. It was my idea, and then David, but it was kind of within the scope of what David already wanted to do and what we already wanted to do, and he felt like the time was right. So we did Magic Secrets, and we did it on purpose during the build up to when we already knew when OMG 2026 was imminent. Okay, it was in planning, production, and even then, the roots of it go back to monetizing traffic live that Bryn and Lawrence were at in Franklin, Tennessee. Of course, Jeremy, who's also in our group. Jeremy's on. Great that Jeremy's on. Awesome. Great that Jeremy's on. That really fills things in. He's the last person I wanted to particularly highlight on today's episode. So yeah, and just a little bit. This is a little bit like this can be the origins episode for a little while for Magic Secrets, in a sense that now enough of the real story has developed. It's not us saying like, oh, it's going to be like this. It's going to be like we had members have had unbelievable success now on Arena, right? If you want, mythic performances on Arena, if you want top 100 performances on Arena, we've got them. If you want top 50 performances and top 10 performances, we've got Derry. It's got them, a couple of them, with Batman Shuffle and another, kind of the original Isengard Shuffle. So yeah, we've had that type of success, and then all types of other really great success, business success and life success, and we've done cool stuff. We've developed things. We now have the Magic Secrets website, which is gorgeous. We have we've started our promotional line. Jeremy, I was just mentioning that we're going to have these tokens available for both. Oh, and Jeremy, very realistic that you come down for DC. I'll announce it right now, folks. I will be very likely. I'll look at things for DC. But Jeremy, for you could be even more of a no-brainer. That's
I'm just a couple hours away.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's May 29th. And obviously Lawrence is right there. So anyways, we have our really dope promotional tokens that are also actually very, very helpful if you want to do any earth binding, which of course we do a lot with our various now Atlantis Shuffle and other decks. I will get to tons of Magic, by the way. This is going to be Modern Palooza today, and we have a bunch more follow up. Another new explosive deck from Dan Furtick that Dan particularly designed with Smitty involved. It kind of goes to show when you have somebody of Dan Burdick's caliber and he wants to come design for somebody, what does that tell you about him? Just really great guy. Like Zaphod Beeblebrox in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. It told me what I always knew, that I'm a really great guy. It's a reference to the total perspective vortex. You can look it up. It's pretty funny. So, but you had to be there. But at least I told you where there was, so you can look it up, and then you get there, and be like, yeah, actually, this is pretty fun. All you have to do is read a whole book, but it's pretty fun. So, anyways, um, but that's not any sort of a snark. Smitty is a really great guy. So that's that Dan went to develop for him and so on. So, anyways, the reason why so OMG was imminent. OMG 2026 was imminent. We were going to be launching it, around now. We were doing the type of buildup that was very serious minded. OMG itself has had staggering success. One man gang that David and I built around helping it's a mastermind around search engine optimization, essentially, getting traffic on Google to various businesses like painters and roofers and AC repair people and all kinds of different kinds of business, commerce. We've done Amazon, we've done it all. So, anyways, we had this fabulous success. You can see my Instagram. Oh, I should add my well, I'll add my Instagram at least to the omgmachines.com front page, and then we'll see. We need a magic secrets. I'm sure Instagram will want social medias and so forth over and above our YouTube channel. We have the all-time legendary YouTube channel. If you look back, by the way, this week I was studying our YouTube channel from 2009 or something like that, and looking at a deck and figuring cards out. I was like, what was that deck? What was that card in Monsters Inc. and looking through how I built it back then because it was such a good deck, and it was next to another Pro Tour Championship deck that I just built. The all-time famous Gabriel Nassif top deck keeper build. But anyways, the reason I wanted to have Magic Secrets is that David and I, for a long time, wanted to be a patron to gamers. Gaming has given us so much. Realistically speaking, David and I helped usher in probably more than anybody else. I don't know. You could try to make some different arguments, I suppose. Um, but I mean, realistically speaking, if you look at cultural what's going on, and when I go to Magic tournaments, I mean, I did not my brand. It was weird because Wizards, they put me on MTV, they put me on, but okay, just have to understand that's the whole thing about it. Even when I started thinking about it, Wizards is just not one thing. There were people, very smart people at Wizards that had sway, that were very smart. Mark Rosewater, who really were like, hey, I want to see Magic do well. Mike Long is the one who's going to make Magic do well. Let's put him on MTV, because I was on MTV and I was on Sports Illustrated magazine. It was just me, featured, kind of when Sports Illustrated right there was probably at its all-time peak at the time, because online hadn't taken over at all, and cable TV hadn't taken over nearly as much. Devices weren't a thing. It was whatever, 1997, 1998 when that happened, or 1996 even. Rolling Stone magazine, I was in, me, nobody else. A full page ad in Rolling Stone magazine, Spin magazine, me, nobody else. And I don't, like, I'm just saying that happened, right? So forces inside of WotC chose me for stuff like that. ESPN, there's a 30-minute special, and I was, the main guy in it. Now that was merit, I just won, and all this stuff. David and I, that was the whole thing, is we just won, and I'm showing you how. Like, with the Magic Secrets, part of the value proposition of this is I knew I could predictably show you as a viewer, as a listener, as a participant, right? How, especially as a participant, and we could build the culture and environment that you are a participant, and you could find out how. And so we knew we could reliably deliver that. I knew, because of the heroics of Chris Manieri, original Magic Secrets member, we were able to capture and preserve the original Magic Secrets book, so I still have that available. And then I wrote the new one, somewhere like I think I wrote that right before we did Monetizing Traffic Live, or right after Monetize. I can't really remember the exact order of it, but I have the whole book, which is like a urban fiction novel. It's on magicsecrets.com. Richard Garfield read it, said it was really fun. It's an endorsement. I felt great about it. I put it at the top of the site. He's the inventor of Magic the Gathering. We wanted to have, we knew we were going to have the success with OMG, right? Now, you saw Wolf of Wall Street. If you did, right, we had that guy, Jordan Belfort, training for 3 hours at OMG Live right here in Orlando in 2016. David and I paid him $75,000, Jordan, to train OMGers how to sell SEO. We figured he was pretty good at selling. And he had a concept of SEO, and so it was a good fit. We actually used some of his training for OMG 2026 already. So glad to have done that. But anyways, if you watch the movie Wolf of Wall Street, the environment of it was pretty toxic with drugs and alcohol and just craziness, just crazy stuff going on, dangerous stuff going on, and just crazy. And it's not that people that are successful with this new era of OMG won't take any drugs or won't drink any or won't do anything like that. I'm not like the police against that. I will tell you there was a lot of partying with the original version of OMG, and again, in its place, within reason. That's fine. I don't know if we already always kept it within reason, but whatever. But I there's just something with gaming that, like, David and I always felt hindered by the previous environment. Like, we felt good about it, of course. There's so many good things about the original OMG, the way we did it in the first place, without gaming as being particularly important. Okay, it was a little bit. I would talk about it on webinars. Sometimes we played some Dungeons and Dragons sessions. I would share some emails about some games and talk about things throughout the years. Right, I would bring it up in emails, have little special, little webinar events and stuff like that. But we did the thing with Discord. We may bring that back. I still have an eye towards that. And we have the infrastructure for it and so forth. I always kind of keep these things in mind, but I want to do them, kind of in their good timing. But anyways, we wanted to shape the culture more. David would say to it all the time, like, we're trying to explain this stuff on webinars, especially about conversion and about business and about relationships and how to do things right. And we're constantly handcuffed by not being able to reference games, because a third of the time or more, when David and I are talking to each other about various concepts and we're trying to break through a bottleneck on it, the way we'll get around the bottleneck is some reference to some game that we've played. And anyways, it's fun. It's fun to play games, and it's a very low cost. There's no negative impact necessarily on your life or your family or whatever. I mean, presumably you have some amount of time on your own that you would be wanting to be entertained. Almost everybody is. No matter who your spouse is, there's going to be some amount of time that they want to be on YouTube or TikTok or whatever and do something on their own garden, whatever, and they don't want to do it with you, right? Maybe a lot of time they do want to do it with you, and that's really healthy, right? By the way, we'll get into relationships and relationship advice. I'll get into it. It's not what you think. Is not what you think. Anyways, I can't go down every road all at once. I'll be expansive with this and good, but I also want to kind of, I'm right at the point where I kind of want to wrap things up in the next couple minutes and then get to the magic. And get there. So much so because we have so much explosive stuff, and I also plan to keep this to about an hour. So we wanted to have. I don't want to say a wholesome, because it has nothing to do with that. I mean, I think magic is sexy as can be. I think that now it is. By the way, you should have seen it. Man, you should. And that's kind of the point. Like, if you watch a show like Stranger Things, the biggest thing about that on I don't know shows like that, but that's an iconic show on Netflix. And the one thing about that show is they act like you weren't a pariah if you played Dungeons and Dragons. Like, there was an organized major campaign in America when I was a kid in the 1980s, where it was like basically the example of bad parenting was allowing your children around someone that played Dungeons and Dragons or any game like that. And I'm not saying that was completely universal, but it was a pretty major thought. And this is before Pokemon, and we helped open the door for Pokemon. Pokemon's copied off of Magic the Gathering. If Nintendo hadn't noticed Magic the Gathering, I don't see how the Pokemon game would have emerged, since it's so much so of a copy of it that Wizards sued them successfully and got a great settlement with them to be able to be the American distribution for Pokemon, which is the wave that WotC rode to to be bought out by Hasbro, which allowed them to buy. I mean, all these things that happened like right on the heels of me being on MTV and so forth, and this expansion. And David and I really bring a certain popularity to the game, Magic the Gathering, which is never exactly seen in the same way since. It didn't, like, once David and I exited the game, nobody stepped into that role as much as Watsy thought it would happen. It's not that we took our ball and went home. David just realized, they were abusive with our brand. They kicked him out of Pro Tour Los Angeles for a rule that so much so doesn't exist. Let's bring this up in the story here. Let me go to the share here. This is so amazing.
Did you get the video?
What's that?
Did you get the video from Saffron Olive that I put up?
What's the video?
It's of the quote unquote riot at PTLA.
Oh my gosh, you have that?
Yeah,
it's so cool.
It's hilarious because they keep referring to David as this guy who was like a casual Magic player who just happened to make top 8.
Oh, that's so funny. Well, and that maybe that's why
I might have only shared it with Dan. I'm not sure.
Yeah, and I like, the more I think back to it, I mean,
a casual Magic player that just
and Peter Atkinson, it's just hard to know like what he was doing. I mean, I know he was literally friends with Chris Pakula and played Dungeons and Dragons with him, and Chris Pakula obviously to this day hates me so much. So one can only imagine. Again, it was his company, and Peter could be upset, but hey, Peter, you let it happen. I mean, at least happened under you, So what are you going to say? Like, it didn't happen. You weren't the CEO. Was somebody else the CEO? All right, let's look at the emotes. This is the exact thing that David was thrown out of the Pro Tour for, showing a card before passing it. I just want to point out this is an emoji now. It was so much a part of Magic culture to show a card before you play it. Anyways, David, the ultimate strategist that he is, and this is what they didn't count on. They didn't count on, and this is why I'm telling you about people. Watsy, Peter, who ran Watsy, and he sold his part and went off and partied and raved, and that's fine, I guess. But whatever. I mean, it was based on abusing my brand and abusing David's brand, and totally screwing Watsy and screwing the whole future of gaming, for decades because of it. But hey, no big deal. Anyways, David wasn't going to play ball with Richard or any of his ilk. Not Richard Garfield, Peter Atkinson. Richard were cool, utterly cool with Richard. Jesus, Richard's the best. And again, Richard just wasn't calling the shots. Richard didn't eject David. Had nothing to do with it. Richard's utterly supportive the entire time. Great guy. Inventor of the game. So, and it's not that Peter didn't do good things. Of course, he did a lot of good things. It's just he did that. The brand abuse. It's just unconscionable. Shame on you, Peter. And we'll take your apology. And you can make this whole anytime you want to, and you should. You feel better about yourself. So, and I mean that you just feel better about yourself. So we could, David and I have become formidable in this time, and we can do things, and we can make things better for people. We knew how to do this. David was like, we're not going to do this way. We're not going to play this game where they vilify us and screw us and so forth. And so starting that day, David was preparing our exit. Now, we didn't storm off, right? We collected our winnings because we were so far ahead, and we had built a culture that was so far ahead that David had us wisely ride that wave out. And I did that wisely for years. I mean, Smitty will remember this. I would take off from the game store, go to Pro Tour Los Angeles, make top 4, top 8, like twice in a row. And I would not even be playing at the time because I was so immersed in the business of Magic and Pokemon. Do you remember that, Smitty?
Yeah. I remember masks, especially masks draft. Yeah. With the yeah, that was one of the greatest things ever. And then unfortunately, like, your deck was good, but Benefield took.
Yeah, Benefield was just awesome. Well, it was just tough. But that was kind of my point. It was I wasn't really. You gotta understand, guys. Smitty can tell you this. I was not playing very much Magic the Gathering. I was doing Magic the Gathering 24/7 and Pokemon. But what was I doing, Smitty?
You were playing like, where did you and O'Mahony Schwartz meet? Was it the finals?
Oh yeah, top eight, unfortunately. Yeah,
Yeah, top
but
eight.
my point is, in
Okay.
the meantime, at the tournaments I would play, but in the meantime, in Japan and in wherever we were driving to, South Carolina or whatever, I was trading cards.
Yeah, Secaucus, New Jersey, unfortunately.
Yeah,
LA on the boat
yeah,
on the Queen Mary. That was
yeah,
fun.
exactly. Like in between rounds, whenever I could, because like that was the driver of the business, and making business deals, great business deals. We had our own Magic the Gathering deck boxes with we hosted a giant tournament with I think it's like 500 people in Osaka, Japan, with Atsu, with these Rebecca Gay made these Sarah Angel deck boxes. Well, she made the artwork of the Sarah Angel. Everybody wanted Rebecca to do a Sarah Angel. We got her to do it, and then we made it into a deck box, and then we had this whole event surrounding it, and we were working with Oami and all these different companies. I went to Japan over 20 times in that time stretch. How many times did you go, Smitty? You went multiple times, I know.
Yeah, it was yeah, so you were talking about the lotto earlier, and Magic the Gathering was the lottery for me. Um I made a quick list and I'm not gonna read it off, but like it's about 15 people long that all had effects on my life. You know, yourself, David, etc. But all the way down to like the Denny Chews and the Joel Priests of the world.
Well, yeah, I appreciate those
Taught me how to
people.
be a
That's great.
better trader
That's
by
so smart
trading.
of you to think that way.
And Dominic
And
Stewart.
yeah, Denny's still around, by the way.
I'm sorry.
Denny's still around. He's in the yeah. That's one of the reasons why I appreciate Ryan Gill. Ryan has that great
Yeah, yeah.
fantasy football league.
Ichabod,
Um,
like all of them, like like contributed to
yeah.
learning. Even fucking Justin Gary.
Well, yeah, again, Justin was I mean, he taught our elementary magic league at our store, and
Yeah.
I thought a great job of it. I mean, what do you want? I mean, and those are the kids you love. You're the one who's always telling me, oh, Stephen Norm this and Paulie Michael that, and I love it. I love it, Smitty. That's what makes you so great. That's why we built Magic Secrets
Yeah,
around
the
it.
kids are also on the list, but like I said,
Guys,
it's a long list.
so the way Magic Secrets is generally set up and the way David does things. So Smitty is good at the thing in Magic. It's not that he's better at me or David than at playing or deck design in a certain way. Although he's very good. He's explosive at deck design. He's super good at deck design. Top tier, top shelf, best I've ever worked with. Amongst the best. But it's here's what it is about Smitty is he's so good at the meta of Magic. Okay, he was a child of Magic. It was early to him. He understands the culture of it in so many ways, even better than me and David. He understands people. He understands the tie-ins with poker. He understands so much more. They're just he was so much more immersed in the culture of the game. He's a great card trader, one of the greatest ever. Um, but it's he was so good at so many things, and it was tough because I was watching it, and I didn't know what to develop in that. It was tough because David and I all we do is think about how to develop people, and he was so explosive at the game, but he was also so good at developing the culture of it and understanding the business of it. And there were a lot of people that understood how to play, and we knew that sending him down. I mean, he was the most talented person we were working with. Yet we didn't really want to develop him as a Magic Pro for the same way we weren't developing ourselves as Magic Pros. Smitty, you were not seeing me. The business in the end in the store was not running. It was for other people, but not for me. I was not using it as an excuse so I could play test for the Pro Tour. I was running the store. That's what I did with 98% of my time. I mean, how
Yeah, there
often was
was
I
another
really
guy there
testing?
that didn't have that focus.
What's that?
There was another guy there that didn't have that focus.
Yeah, and ultimately, even now, I mean, I don't have control of the owner or of the management of the store anymore, even though I'm the owner of it. And they don't allow 14-year-olds or under to be in the store, so it's outrageous. That's a core tenet of the store. So even the people now don't want to really run the store the way it's supposed to be run. Anyways, Now you understand more about the origin story. Okay, we have the blogs, we have these Magic Secrets blogs. I have very limited ability to surf with this, but I'm going to try to um, get over to our blogs. We're using with a new version of GoToWebinar, and that means trouble. That means trouble. They always love they love to update these. Oh, this is so great. I have these pictures. Here's Smitty and us together. Great shot. And then this is a great shot of the group. Bryn put this together. This is Lawrence here, of course, and Jeremy here. These are another couple of OMGers. Michael has been on the webinars, and this is Kurt. I'm sure we'll get him on at some point. And that was, such a big thing, such a big event. Let me go to MagicSecrets.com. So on MagicSecrets.com, right here, I hope this pops up. It does. Our blog. So these, obviously, you see the only posts here are from Bryn. Okay, but we have a lot of ideas, a lot of things that need to be posted. Magic Secrets, it's growing, but we built it so you can build it, right? And that's the way it's going to be powerful for you. Same way the OMG 2026 is building the same way. It's the sort of the version 2.0 or 3.0 of OMG. It's built around Nikki. Nikki is good at the meta of SEO marketing, of being an agency owner and so forth. Those that have worked with him know that very, very well. He's incredible. He's been on our podcast here if you want to check it out. We're graced to have him on. It was one of our great weapons. Oh, you can't check it out because I think I kept it as a secret episode. Anyways, I don't know that I ever published that one. Anyways, if you really, really want that, you can email me at mike@mikemalone.com, or you can text me at 858-699-2747, and I'll probably send it to you. But anyways, Nikki's awesome. We're doing OMG. We've got Smitty. We got to build around these guys, right? They're supermen, but David's building this stuff kind of in their spare time, necessarily, which makes it easier for them, but you got to build around them. So Smitty has these requests, as does Nikki. And we have a blog on MagicSecrets.com too. I should pull it up, but anyway, it's a little too far afield, not that far afield. Okay, so big announcement today. The reason for that whole run-up is I've got three announcements. Both Lawrence and Jeremy were naming as editors of both the Magic Secrets blog and the OMG Machines blog. Bryn is going to be the editor-in-chief of these two blogs. Bryn is the one who put together this incredible Orlando trip. There's been a bunch of other stuff if you've been around. He's just more organized. He knows where the decks are. He's the one who works with Smitty the most. He's been in top 100 or so arena player. So he's kind of a lot like Smitty, where he's really, really, really good at playing the game. But of course, we got to pick what we're working on and what we're doing. So much great content flows through our Magic Secrets WhatsApp group, and so much of that goes to waste. And it's absurd and basically profanity when you have people like Dan Burdick in there. Dan, one of the greatest inventors in the history of Magic the Gathering, deck builders, built 5-color green and a bunch of other incredible decks. And then more importantly for Magic players, he got headhunted by WotC, and for years was the head of player experience and really reshaped the game much more to how it is now and helped train employees so passionate about the game. Anyways, we don't want those posts to kind of go unanswered, undone. And so because of that, we're making Bryn the editor with broad editorial powers, where mostly Smitty and I will highlight things that we would like posted. Smitty wants to see decks organized, right? One way of doing that is in yet another WhatsApp group. That's fine. If Bryn wants to continue to do things that way, that's up to Bryn. But we want them on the website, and we want them tagged in a way where they're searchable, so that we're going to really try to make that happen. In terms of making Lawrence and Bryn editors, Lawrence and Jeremy editors. Both of them have a lot of SEO knowledge and Google knowledge and tech knowledge, and they're both really, really good decision makers. They're very immersed in what we do. They love Magic. They're great at playing it. They love these other games. We're going to be more and more highlighting other games. I actually have Dragon Age pulled up here. Just found out that it has a TV show. I was gonna, if we were long on time, I was gonna play just a little bit of Dragon Age Origins, the original game. It's so good. It's by BioWare. It's just so good. We're a patron to games. We want to get talk about more games. We want to play more games with you. I was playing Dota last night, Dota 2 with David's son Chance. David and I play a lot. We'll get to Dota at some point. There's other games we'll get to. But how do we organize that all? Without a blog, it's all running like sand running through our fingers. Lauren, more the reason why I wanted Lawrence and Jeremy on is to help Bryn take advantage of this expansive opportunity. There will be times when they're going to want to do things as editors, which is going to be great. But overall, the responsibility, stops with Bryn. If Bryn's out of pocket, obviously either Lawrence or for a particularly expanded amount of time, then particularly either Lawrence or Jeremy can take care of it. But it's going to be really great having Bryn do this. It's going to be real music to Smitty's ears. And from now on, this is the last blog. Actually, this is the first Magic Secrets episode where we're really organized around the blog, but it's not the last. Every episode from now on will be organized around the blog, and we'll reference the blog. And it all is, and this is all due. This wasn't going to happen no matter what. This is because Bryn just has these types of organizational skills. He's a file folders kind of guy, which is a special kind of trait. He's got a great mix of skills. He's a really, really great human communicator. Again, he put together our whole Magic Secret / OMG event in Orlando, coming all the way over from Amsterdam to do so. So Bryn, congratulations, the new editor-in-chief. I let you know right before the episode started. We're so excited and honored to have you as editor-in-chief, and we think that's going to really make everything so much better here.
Woot.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, it's an odd feeling. I mentioned this to you, Mike. But exciting. Yeah, it's
exciting for Magic Secrets, exciting for Magic Secrets, and exciting for OMG Machines.
Yeah.
Like I said, they'll both step into the role because they are meant to be the same thing. Whereas Nikki is leading the financial beachhead of Law of Implication, and what David Mills is doing with teaching people money getting online, then Smitty is leading that wave with games. Games are so helpful, so valuable, and friendship. It creates really great friend. He's my great friend. He's the person. I mean, just very important in my life. A very great guy, and everybody loves him. And of course, everybody loves everybody in this group. It's a great group. But Smitty's the one who's the one holding it together. How do we do that? How do we make that a real thing? Well, first of all, Smitty says we need decks organized. Yes, but it's a symptom of something deeper, and we want to rally around Smitty, which means that we're giving Bryn the power to do that as the editor in chief, and both he'll have the technological power, and he'll have the authority within our team, and then also supporting him with Jeremy and Lawrence in this kind of particular way that both recognizes their excellence. Jeremy and Lawrence have been incredible contributors to the OMG community and to the Magic Secrets community in various ways. Again, we're to say bogged down. We're super late. So let me get into Magic. Let's get into Magic deck type. But seriously, a moment. Congratulations to all three of our new editors, especially to Bryn, our editor-in-chief, but really to all of them. And we really appreciate you guys. So this is how we're building. Okay, so let's see. This is a fun fun, hilarious deck, just a flash of a card here. You can build around this crazy guy and build a fairly. Although, if you need to level up, if you need to rank up, Bryn will tell you this. Bryn's playing almost the same exact deck that I am. This is how to level up right now. Bryn, you've jumped right up ranks in platinum with this deck. It's getting hard for me to even maintain stuff because I go off and test the deck and it busts me down. So I'm mired down in gold, and then I tested that dinosaur deck last night, which went up and down, but I lost another rank. But this deck is time for money. Like if you play it in a way where you're focused,
Yep.
You're going to win. We have episodes about that, so I'm not going to overly cover that. Now, we're getting into the modern season. Oh, all right, wait, there's one more. So Dan's got a deck. I'm going to try to splash that deck at the end. We covered one of Dan's deck this episode, so we're going to try to. I'll try to get over to the WhatsApp group and pull up a screen capture of Dan's latest deck before we close out the show, and that's going to be soon. But I want to start by going into modern. So I built this. It was $400, but it's fine. I mean, the cards, of course, are worth $400, so it's not that big of a deal. Can sell them back, but it's nice for me to have a baseline of cards and so on, and now we can test and blah blah blah, like kind of online. I will tell you what, you do not want to meet this deck in a back alley on modern. All right. I hammer on the idea of a fundamentals approach to Magic. Why do I do this? Do I do this so I sound like some guy in a movie like Gene Hackman in Hoosiers, who's like, yeah, you need to dribble the basketball, you need to pass the basketball, and then you're going to win or whatever. You guys can all shoot. I mean, cool. That's great to say. Wax on, wax off, Mr. Miyagi. I love that stuff. It's great. But how do you do it in real life? Okay, in real life, in the game of Magic the Gathering, how you do it is David's ultimate deck concept. Okay, and the ultimate deck concept you latch onto both in draft and in constructed. You latch onto certain deck ideas and you refine them, and they're usually based around certain silver bullet cards, often gold cards, right? In this case, Strunith, which of course I've obsessed about. We've done that with Frenetic Retreat. Let me see if I can pull this up. I really wanted to get this, so I don't want to leave it out. Let's try David Mills, Pro, Chicago, Frenetic Retreat, 1998. Let's see if we can get his deck list. Yes. Okay. This is so much like what we're playing now, especially in terms of what Bryn and I are playing in standard. So let's open this part up, Frenetic Retreat. Okay, and David was the one who pointed out to me to pay attention to this card in reference to Drunith. So it's blue, red, and a colorless, 2/1 flyer, and for 0 mana you can flip it. If you lose the flip, he dies. If you win the flip, he phases out. He goes into exile, so you can protect him. You can do this in an instant. What David realized about this card is it's not a 1.5 for 1. It looks like a 1.5 for 1. It looks like a card that will survive once and then probably die. But the math is he's just as likely or unlikely to die the second, third, fourth, or fifth time, including actually when you pull this up, what comes up, this is David actually becoming this is David actually winning out and becoming #1 in the world. And I think this may be the game that Finkel casts serrated arrows and burns through the entire serrated arrows and unable to kill that Frenetic Retreat, which then went on to kill him.
That is the game.
That is the game. So there you go. Smitty knows it well. This is why Smitty's leading things after the Magic Secret thing they made. Okay, so that deck, and this is a very similar style to what Bryn and I are playing a lot with this, and the theories played a ton of with and Smitty knows how to play these decks. Smitty was the one who put us on to Drunith, by the way. Put theory onto it, and then he put me onto it. So for it's Frenetic Retreat, and then this deck has like a lot of counters and some burn in it. Particularly in this deck, we don't have so much of the burn necessarily in the Atlanta Shuffle, but something a little bit more aggressive in, but you can kind of see force of will, counterspell, and then some removal, and then aggressive, kind of a semi-aggressive
it's a little
creature.
crazy. We had 3 Kjeldor outposts. 3 dude.
Oh yeah, they were awesome. They were awesome. Yeah, yeah. You could dude ranch. You could just make a dude, make a dude, make a dude. What we were doing is crossing decks. We were either people were playing dude ranch decks or they were playing kind of blue red decks. We wanted both of them. They just dumb down their expectations and it ruins their deck building. And when you do this ultimate deck style stuff, it gives you more time. You're less likely to dumb down your expectations. You can't not dumb down your expectations by force of will. You have to do it through process. And part of that process is allowing time. And part of allowing time is not doing other things. And so the way we not do other things is we do the things that we do and we don't do those other things. Right. So one of the things I don't do is I don't really splash around decks a lot. I kind of stay tied to Drunas. Right. For example, you guys see. And usually one or two decks is the number. We like usually 2 is the magic number that we've done throughout the years. Again, super tight on time today, and I want to flash a lot of tech today. But this deck could win any RCQ right now. You do not want to run into this deck. I have tested this deck, and you do not want to run into this deck. So, by the way, I've come to realize, Smitty and Bryn, you guys can both comment on this. Mockingbird is like Mr. Blue's wingman. It's Drunith Jackal's wingman, right? He's like so good with Drunith, including the fact of getting that extra +1/+1 flyer. All you want in the game in this deck is flyers that you can pile something on. Well, I mean, the one we're showing you, the other deck that we're showing you, but this deck is, great to just get more creatures that you're getting. Flyers, right? Late game are great. Smitty, Bryn, we're kind of seeing that because again, the card that I chose out of all the cards in Standard to carry forward into Modern is just Starting Town, Mockingbird, and Druna/Jackal.
Wow. Yep.
So can you guys talk about the at least in Standard the various incredible number of different ways you can beat somebody's butt with Drunith and Mockingbird kind of working as a team?
Yeah. For my part, I like the Mockingbird. It's so reliable. Like if you have a Drunith on board, you can use Mockingbird as basically as a 1 cost. You could use a 2 cost, 3 cost, 4 cost.
And that 3 cost, you're often giving yourself that double Mr. Green.
Yeah, exactly.
You're gonna win.
Yeah. It's so reliable,
right.
And it's so versatile. It's yep. And you can copy their Mr. Greens. You can copy their 2 costs.
Right.
Sometimes I copy their cards
Mr.
or their,
Green.
yeah.
I love if they play Cecil against you and you're like
you got a flying Cecil, yeah.
Well, not flying Cecil. Just wait till he transforms to the right one and then copy that one is often the better play. Okay, great. Smitty, any thoughts on Drunith and Mockingbird?
I think Bryn covered the important parts. It's remembering that you can cast it for whatever you want. As far as like the X factor. So the casting cost relates to Drunith for what you actually pay. But if you pay 4 mana and copy a cub, you still bump Drunith up if she's a 3.
Yep.
Right. And there's all kinds of things that'll come up. Like you'll have 2 cubs already in play and cast a Mockingbird, and it'll be the right play to copy a land. Okay.
Yeah.
And make the smaller Mockingbird, instead of making it a 1/1 flyer, you'll make it a land, either because you want to cover yourself with a counter or whatever. You'll give yourself the classic reason is to be able to cast Michelangelo and Drunith in the same turn, which is Mondo combo, baby.
In Standard, also, you're often copying C-Note Scout.
Oh yeah, C-Note Scout, of course. Yeah, super duper with Mockingbird. And of course, I copy Mindspring Merfolk all the time. Okay, so to bridge back into this deck. So what this deck is your classic electric deck but it's done with an overlay very similar. Like it's overlaying a few different kind of ultimate deck concepts we're doing. So first of all, it's very similar to obviously the deck that we're playing. Now we have a version of this already that we showed last week, where we showed a we showed a timeless version of this last week, or that would be like, this would be modern version. Merfolks, this works great. You can have this with another set of oh wait, no, this is the time. Yeah, this is wrong. It's this one here. This deck here. And I would strongly consider I just found out about the Hierophant. We'll go over him in a second. The other Hierarch, I mean, the Ignoble Hierarch, I would strongly consider it over Birds of Paradise. It'd be a really tough call because, of course, it doesn't produce blue, is the problem. So you probably still play Birds of Paradise in this deck. Anyways, this is one version of bringing the same concept of the Isengard Shuffle and, you know, specifically Atlantis Shuffle over into Modern. And my point is, why did we start with Modern even for Magic Secrets? Is because I wanted to do great deck design for, like, we start with Standard so we could do better deck design for Modern. So we could do better deck design for the other format. Because otherwise we would overlook the newer cards and feel like they were unimportant. And why would we feel like we're unimportant? Because by our actions, we made them unimportant, right? Of course, you would feel like they're unimportant if you apportion your time and make them unimportant by your actions, right? So there you go. It's again more David Mills tech. Okay, so the normal deck, you boil down electric decks. They play this guy who's a lot like another mana creature. It's really cool how well this guy works. I mean, this guy works crazy well with Drunith because he gives you another creature that can give you 3 mana on turn 3 and let you cast Drunith and copy a creature with Drunith, which is the sweet spot. You almost never lose if you do that. So I've got both noble and ignoble hierarchs. Now, I'd like to point out that on magicsecrets.com, you can go to the YouTube channel where we do the replays, which is youtube.com/video music showcase. If you scroll down, you will see the Monsters Inc. deck that I developed at the same time that I developed the same time that I developed Nassif's 5-color keeper deck with Patrick Chaikin. And it's called Monsters Inc. It was this really fast creatures deck and a deck almost identical to it. I don't know if it was one of our teammates exactly who got it, but almost exactly identical, made top 4 of that same pro tournament. So it was a delight for me. And I was kind of showing it off online during the pro tournament. Got like over 10,000 views, so you can see that. Very similar to this deck. I actually call this deck Monsters Inc. because it's still an Isengard Shuffle deck. It's like Monsters Inc. Shuffle. But this deck is literally all monsters right now. I'm not saying it couldn't have monsters, but okay. So this is the thing about Drunith. I was talking to Lawrence about this on the phone the other day. The crazy thing about Drunith is the more powerful his running mates, the more crazier he gets. And so this deck, this electric deck, is normally relying on this kind of combo between Guide of Souls, which is this really fast creature. Whenever you cast a creature, you gain a life, and whenever that happens, you gain life and you get an electric. And so for every creature you get down, and this deck is all creatures, you get an electric. And if you get 3 electrics on him, you can put 2 +1/+1 counters and a flying counter on any attacking creature. So really, really powerful card. And then you have this crazy Ocelot Pride. Here, let me pull up the kind of cool looking version of it. So this is a crazy card. Again, this is 1/1. This is what you get as a 1/1 creature in Modern compared to Standard. So he's a 1/1 first strike, so important. Lifelink. He has Ascend. If you control 10 or more permanents, which happens all the time, you get Blessing in the City for the rest of the game. At the beginning of your end step, if you gain life this turn, which is very easy with him or the other guy, you create a 1/1 white cat creature token, which of course then gives you another, electric, right? Then if you have Cities of Blessing, for each token you control that enter this turn, create a token that's a copy of that. So obviously the token's got to control. So just these 2 guys working together is a problem. And if you add Drunith to it, of course it's going to be a much bigger problem. And then they add this Ajani Noctil Pariah, who's both a cat and then he has this crazy, it's called kind of Cataclysm style thing. A Cataclysm is a card where you'd cast it and your opponent, I lost to it I built the deck and lost to it. Matt Lindy's deck that beat me at the ESPN Challenge, the U.S. Nationals, 1998. But Kyle Rose and I developed the deck together with Cataclysm, and we'd play it where 2 white and 2 colorless, and your opponent would have to pick, and you yourself as well would have to pick just 1 creature, 1 enchantment, and 1 artifact, and go down, and 1 land, and go down to nothing else. Well, this does Cataclysm just for your opponent is his actual planeswalker ability. I mean, you have to wait for it a little bit, but basically, if any cat dies once this guy is in play, a Johnny, then he can flip over, and then you can put a +1/+1 counter on every cat, and then if they don't bust him down the next turn, you can bust your opponent down to one land, 1 creature, 1 enchantment. I mean, they're probably not going to win at that point. So that's crazy, and he's also a crazy beatdown while he's at it. You know, he's like 3 damage for 2 mana and all that stuff because he creates a guy and so on. Orcish Bowmasters, this is probably one of the biggest cards of the Lord of the Rings set. This guy's phenomenal flash card, really keeps people like under control. Like he's like a really out of control version of that that red card that our Michael Friedman loves. Whatever that guy's card. Anyway, basically every time your opponent draws an extra card, this guy directs the point of damage anywhere you want and builds up his own little zombie guy. Psychic Frog, super crazy out of control card, which again, most of these electric decks aren't, like these cards are kind of the core of an electric deck, these 16 cards, because they also play this Ranger Captain of Eos. But Ranger Captain of Eos is nowhere near as good in a typical electric deck as is in our deck, because we can go get Mockingbird in our deck, which makes him super, super amazing. In fact, I think you'll almost a lot of time get Mockingbird. I mean, I'm sure half the time to get Mock, or more. Okay, great. And then we had these Hierarchs. I played Hierarch in that deck I was telling you about, Monsters Inc. It was the reason I brought it up. I just found out about Ignoble Hierarch yesterday, which gives you the other colors that the Noble Hierarch doesn't cover. Works out particularly well in this deck because you have those colors. Psychic Frog, again, is totally out of control. So you have all of these creatures that are completely out of control, including these legends that you love to really break them, right? And now you got Drunith, but you don't just have Drunith. He's not gimped in any ways. In fact, you've got, instead of normally we play a Drunith deck, we'll have normally 8 mana creatures that help him go off on turn 2. This deck has, in essence, 12 to help him go off on turn 2. And then you're going to always have another 1-drop. If you have 24 1-drops, you have 4, 8, 12, 16 2-drops. And then these are the 3-drops. Smitty, I'll get your final words on this or on anything else that we covered today. And then I'm going to flash Dan's deck list as best as I can. And then we're going to wrap the episode.
Yeah, sure. So on this one, like the important thing too is the Hierarchs all have Exalted, which actually probably makes your Frog, probably affects the Frog the most, and Nakatsu. So sometimes you're just going to be swinging with one guy or one Mockingbird, and that's going to make them a little more durable, especially with the Frogs, where you really want to get in there. Thalia is very interesting. I'm not sure if we should have some main or not. I might.
Which card? Oh, Thalia. Yeah. So the problem is it's so much a metagame question, because of course this could be literally the best card in your deck. Can you explain?
Yeah.
You, me, and Dan have abused the hell out of this card.
Thalia is she's just incredibly annoying if you're trying to cast spells. It's like propaganda for spells. It's like it doesn't. It gives you so much reach and so much more time, versus say control and whatnot and so forth. But yeah, I like the Ragavan, of course, is something to pay attention to too. He's kind of a special little pilfer.
Yeah, because you're able to grab cards off of your opponent's deck, and this deck, by the way, is going to cast those cards literally way better than a regular electric deck. Okay, we've got City of Brass, Gemstone Mine, Mana Confluence, and Starting Town. But notice only 8 of those lands necessarily cause damage, and we don't have any shock lands. We're not taking 2 damage at a time ever from our lands, and we've got all 3. We got 12 mana creatures. So just so you know, you actually wind up taking probably even a little bit less damage than your average electric deck, because a lot of times electric decks are going to have 3 damage on their first turn. So anyways, I thought I'd make that good point. And then in sideboard, you can go crazy with stuff like Mist Caller. There's definitely decks do not want to see Mist Callers, because you can't, that they'll cast there's a green and X spell where they can just search their deck for any creature and put it in play. You're like, nah, you can't do that, and so on.
You can kind of chain the Ranger too with the bird, so that they can't cast spells. That's another thing to remember.
Right, yeah, that's kind of Mike Finney brought this up, and this is the reason why we have the Ranger Captain, is that we can pretty much get to a point on turn 3 where our opponent is not really going to cast another spell, because what you're going to do is you're going to cast 2 Ranger Captains of Eos with Drunith. You'll copy them, and at least one of them you'll get a Mockingbird, and then that Mockingbird can copy another one, and it can do it for 4 casting costs, which will copy the
Correct. Yeah, I mean, you can get a real sick chain going, especially if they're not creature based.
Yeah. So with Ranger Captain, you can sacrifice it, so you can really get root on them. I also put just in the sideboard Reclamation Shaman. Could be also there's a Changeling for 1/2. Maybe that's better. I don't know. And then I put Force of Vigor. Seemed powerful to me.
Ooh, yeah, the Changeling might be better with the cats and stuff.
What's that?
The Changeling might be better with the cats and stuff.
Changeling's definitely better with the cats and stuff. Good spot. Okay, so I'll put that in, but that's that. Okay, I found this deck. All right, so this is gonna be a final splash look. Let me see how I can do this. So let me just stop screen sharing for 1 second. How do I do that? Okay, and then let me go to our WhatsApp and pull up
Dan's Crazy Omni deck?
Yeah, that's what I want to pull up.
Okay.
And we'll just have Smitty comment on this. But this is a final splash for the episode, so I have it pulled up. Let me go back to screen sharing. Okay, share. All right, Smitty.
Okay, so here we go. The one thing we changed was Myogen went to the sideboard.
Okay, yeah.
Because it's just a little difficult. But the main theme of the deck is reenact the crime and beseech the mirror. And the cynical loner, which gives you some pretty sneaky ways to do stuff and avoid some of the graveyard hate.
So this deck, with this deck, you're both a full functional deadly graveyard deck, but you're also, of course, a fully functional deadly Omni deck.
Yeah, that's the plan for sure.
Okay, and again, this is very much like what
Your
we did
sideboard
with the frenetic counterpost deck that I showed you from David Mills, right? Right here, David Mills Pro Chicago. What we're doing was not 1 deck, but 2 decks. And people thought you had to dumb down your expectation and just play counterpost counterspell, or play kind of blue-red, sort of mid-range counter aggression. We did both. Okay, people were afraid of that because of Blood Moon and so forth. I did have some Blood Moon problems, but ultimately I took 9th. David took 2nd, and Justin, like 3 people played the deck and took 2nd, 5th, and Justin only took 5th because he played David the first round, and then I took 9th, and I think I lost on maybe tiebreakers. Can't really remember. Okay, so Smitty, in the same way, you're taking 2 decks that you're pretty familiar with. You're especially familiar with graveyards, this graveyard strategy, and using Superior Spider-Man / Cabero. All right, go ahead. I just wanted to set that up so you can
No,
finish
no.
off.
And then you have the Northwind Avatar, which is
I love the one drop slot. By the way, what makes me in love with this deck is I love Grand, Gene Pollinator, Lana War Elves, and Springleaf Drum. I mean, wow. I mean, deadly for kind of a combo-ish deck to have that much
and
that you
and
don't want to see.
12 of those cards in your first column allow you to beseech with bargain.
Ooh, okay. So Pollinator lets you beseech. Springleaf Drum lets you beseech. Which ones don't?
The land enchant.
The land enchantment. Okay, well also, okay, so you can sack the growth, the drum, or the pollinator. Again, making pollinator really, really great to activate the beseech the mirror. So you have 12 cards. Little light on that aspect. Is that something you're thinking about addressing?
It seems to work for now. Because you also
Because
have
I'm kind of looking at either maybe the cynical loner or maybe something to just beef that up.
the cynical owners could maybe be a 3 of, but like it's just so good in the deck. With
Right.
Reenact a Crime,
Yeah.
because you can get so like my opponent had Agatha's Soul Cauldron, and so I basically tricked them into exiling something else, and then used a drum or a pollinator or whatever to activate.
And it's not really a trick if they're going to sit there and just die while you're doing a graveyard effect, right?
Well,
You're not
they're active. They had a Ghost Vacuum, or a Soul Cauldron. I don't remember exactly what it was, but it came
Yeah, so
down
they
to
obviously had to use it. They had to use it to do something. You just basically forced their hand. Because I'd like to point out, it's not like they can just sit there and let you like get anything
yeah.
you want out of the graveyard. Woo!
And then I think I cast Omni or something with Reenact it. I don't remember what it was, but it was.
Yeah, I mean they got to stop that. Oh, sure. Like have Omni. What's the worst thing that can happen?
If you click on the sideboard,
I can't.
ill-timed explosion is especially important.
Yeah.
As it can reset the board and put something sexy in your graveyard. And then I can't really see all of it.
Okay.
The
Well,
peak.
that was a good preview for now. We just got it from Dan, and it was a really, really full episode. So I'll go back one last time to pull up this great new modern deck that we got for you, Monsters Inc. Shuffle, where Drunif has gone on to abuse more and abuse more. I've been testing this on modern. It's really absurd. I mean, so many people are just smothered by it. If we develop the right sideboard, I mean, again, like Smitty was saying, Thalia against these decks that want to cast a bunch of ops and stuff, they don't want to see Thalia, for example, and they especially don't want to see two of them. And remember remember guys, the one that you copy, okay, the legend you copy is not a legend. AKA, you can copy that with Mockingbird. You copy the token. So you could have two Thalia in play and then cast Mockingbird, copy that, and make a copy of both the token, which I think is 0 casting cost at that point, and the Thalia token again with the regular. So basically, you would have 4 Thalias in play at that point on the next turn. If you copy Thalia the first turn with Drunith, you could then copy her 2 more times with Mockingbird, making it so every single spell your opponent casts that's a non-creature spell, they have to spend 4 mana. You might win that game.
I totally thought you were saying Sally for a second. I was like, hold on, people don't know what that is.
Yeah, no, I'm saying.
Souls.
Yeah, so if you have Drunith and you copy Thalia, you're going to get both the original Thalia and you're going to copy Thalia. That copy Thalia is not a legend. It's not legendary. That can be super abusive with Mockingbird, especially abusive with Mockingbird getting copied by Drunith. where that token costs 0. So if you then paid 3 mana the next turn or the same turn, let's see, for 2 you cast Thalia, for 3 mana you Mockingbird. Now you create 2 more Thalias.
Wow. Wow.
It's not good. Actually, you do not want to run into this deck in a dark alley. And I mean, you guys don't even know. Psychic Frog is the real all-star of this deck. I mean, it's crazy what this card. It's like they're counters. You discard cards and put a counter on them. When I first saw it, I thought you just discarded cards and it would get +1/+1. No, you discard a card, it gets a counter. And then you can make it fly like woo! And you have all these hierarchs. Oh man, because you never really get mana flooded when you have 8 hierarchs, because every hierarch is creating like an abusive attack situation, and really nice, by the way, that attacker can be like a flying frog, for example, or it can be a cat that you really want to die because of a Johnny or whatever. I mean, just all kinds of abusive scenarios. It can be a trampler in Druid's case, and so on. Okay, awesome episode. Lawrence and Jeremy, did you guys have anything before we wrap things up? And please do say anything that you guys want to say.
Great episode. Lawrence?
Yeah, this modern version of Isengard Shuffle / Monsters Inc. is exciting. I'm also excited about the Necropotence, the one that Dan introduced. That one seems fun. This one seems just as fun, if not more fun. Yeah. Yeah.
I like how you say
Necropotence.
Necropotence.
Going on in the Magic Secrets world.
Necropotence was one of the most confusing cards when it first came out, because we were looking at it and we're like, is this good or not? And then within like a week, we're like, oh yeah, this is really sick.
And David knew right away. All right, as we wrap things up, congratulations one more time to Bryn, Lawrence, and Jeremy, and we appreciate you guys, because you can see without the blog, it's too much force of will to even remember this stuff and keep. But it's funny, Adam brought up, hey, where's Batman Shuffle? And Bryn had, from 2 or 3 months ago, right away had series deck, organized somewhere. And so that, again, that's just the type of thing, the type of talent that you want in that job. We don't do things, we're not like Watsy. We don't do things based on pick me, type people. We do it based on the type of people who love to do what they do, that want to be doing what they're doing. And, we're going to be happy to have Bryn as the editor-in-chief of these 2, great institutions of law of implication, as long as he wants to do that, and it's going great, and we really appreciate Lawrence and Jeremy's help with that. It's going to make a big difference, having that triangle of support, and everyone will learn so much more. The last thing I'll leave you with is, you can just do 2 people working together can just get any damn thing done, and just remember that, and just don't, like, in our world, you're so often pushed into feeling like you're wrong if you don't muscle up on something. And it's the other way around. You're just wasting energy for no reason, instead of completing the puzzle by getting one more person to look at you on something. You see? There you go. Welcome to the motherfucking show. This is we're throwing down here. All right, appreciate you, and once again we appreciate Smitty. Smitty, thank you for putting this together. This is episode 31. None of them would have happened without you, Smitty. We wouldn't have done it. Appreciate you.
Shucks. All right, boys. Until next time, I appreciate you too.
Yeah, Origins episode for episode 31. People will remember this one. All right, guys, great one. And thanks, Adam, for jumping on as well. Adam wasn't able to talk as much, but he was on, and that makes a big difference to all of us.